And I think we're live. All right. Hey, good evening, and welcome to the Inside EV's Tesla Model S Plaid delivery event pre-show. Kyle, tell us why we're here, what we're doing.
Hey, big day today, potentially could be. It's another Tesla event. These come around maybe once or twice a year. I'm expecting, I don't even know what we're expecting, but that's what we're going to talk about here. If you're in our comments section watching along, please comment. We'll get a feed. It's a little bit delayed, popped up on our side. We're able to respond to them. For those who don't know who we are, Dominic Yoni on top is our forum moderator. We have a great Inside EVs forum, not just for Tesla vehicles, but for others as well. Hyundai Kona, Mercedes EQS, even anything you can imagine that's electric, we have in our forum. Michael Cantu is one of our editors at Inside EVs. He writes some awesome words, and he'll be writing about this event too. So when you tune in later tonight, you'll see some of Michael's writing potentially. And I'm Kyle from Out of Spec. So we make videos a lot on electric cars, some combustion stuff too, but I appreciate anything with wheels. And let's start with Dominic, because we've been talking about this for a long time. Dominic, what are you expecting to see out of today? Maybe you can share a little bit about what the event actually is.
Well, it was billed as a delivery event for the Tesla Model S Plaid version. That's the 3-motor new configuration refresh model with the fancy steering wheel and no gear selector, and fast speeds, super fast, 2 seconds or quicker, 0 to 60 time, and 200-mile-an-hour top speed, and a 9-second quarter mile. We're not sure exactly what the quarter mile will be, but Jay Leno set a record with it actually just recently. I think it was 9.2 something seconds, which is like nuts quick. That's crazy. That's not, man. Anyway, so actually we're starting this whole thing a little early, but we're going to start at 11 o'clock Eastern time. But you're all out there hanging out on YouTube, so we thought we'd join you. So this is like way off the cuff, and so I see none of you guys are wearing plaid.
I didn't know we were supposed to wear plaid.
Sorry, I dug this out of the closet. It's like circa 1978.
The wrong kind of plaid.
It's very warm.
That's slow plaid. You need fast plaid.
That's true. It's true. I'm also enjoying a nice beverage from a local brewery here, Oyster City Brewery. It's a Tate's Hill German ale. It's very nice.
Very nice. I am enjoying something I got out of my refrigerator in the RV here. I'm actually.
You're in the RV.
I'm in the RV. I got all the solar panel controllers behind me, all this stuff. But I'm in my driveway. I just happened to be here. My laptop was here, and I was running late. And I'm like, you know what? Screw it. Kick the lights on. We'll do it from in here. Why not? I got the side door opened up, as you can see.
Okay.
And getting a nice gentle breeze.
What's in your driveway this week?
Lots of crazy stuff. We have 2 Supras, an ID4, a Focus RS, Mustang Mach-E, Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport, Nissan Kicks, Tesla Model 3 Performance, and 4 Zero electric motorcycles.
That's quite
we don't fit. And the electric smart car and the i3. We've had to dump cars at friends' houses all around. Oh, here comes Tom Malogny. Here we go. The show starts.
This is the closest I could get to play.
All right. I'm not alone. Awesome.
Well, so we have Tom. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're thinking about seeing tonight? Since we haven't shared our predictions yet, you can start us off since you're late to the show.
So, to be honest with you, the crazy thing is, I'm hoping that we just hear more than just about the Plaid. I want to get other Tesla news, maybe some Cybertruck news. That's what I'm really looking forward to. But we'll see. You never know with Tesla. You never know. By every hour, everything's different with Tesla. So, I mean, I think we know most of what we're going to know about this car, right? Like there shouldn't be too many surprises. I'm sure Elon has something up his sleeve, but like I said, really for me, I'm really hoping that we get a little nugget about the Cybertruck. Maybe we'll even get an appearance of the production version of it. That would be, if I was planning this event, I would definitely roll that thing out at the end and be like, this is the final locked in production version. That would be a home run for Tesla.
Right. Well, there
Yeah,
are some.
well, can't wait. It's going to be crazy. Can we bring up an elephant in the room really quick, though? Because this really set the stage over the last 2 days. It's been relatively odd Tesla news. I wouldn't say necessarily negative, but very weird, which is Model S Plaid Plus is no longer a thing because no one
Right.
needs that much range. Or was it because they couldn't make it with that much range? Or was it because you don't need 500 miles of range, you need 600 miles of range? I don't know which way he's going to go there. And we've seen price increases for Model Y. What's going on here? What do you guys think?
I think, if I might just step in here in front of everybody, I think it's the Plaid Plus cancellation may be due to battery supply. Maybe they cannot build enough of the big batteries that they're going to use for the Cybertruck. Maybe they need all that production for Cybertruck. Maybe they've got like 1 million reservations for that, and they have a better margin on that vehicle. So why not make as many of those as they can, rather than whatever the Plaid Plus was going to cost? You know, it's going to be a smaller volume of vehicle for sure, and not nearly the profit, right? So that's.
Do we even know if those cells are actually ready for like customer use?
We
So
don't
I mean,
know exactly.
it might not just be production volume, Dom. The cells might just flat out not be ready yet.
Right. Well, I suppose they have a production facility already going, like whatever the beginning production facility. It's already producing cells now, but just at what rate and what quality? Is it a usable quality? We don't know. There's just no transparency there. It doesn't really need to be transparency there. That's it's their business to decide, what they tell us and when. But of course, we'd like to know. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's no Tesla PR department for us to reach out to and bug, right? So one of the things behind the scenes that especially Tom and I do constantly, because we're reviewing new cars and everything, we're constantly on the phone with email with every automaker's PR representative. We know them personally. We have a good relationship. Some we don't have such a good relationship with, and we trash their cars in a video, deservedly so in most cases. But with Tesla, we don't have anyone we can reach out to. The best we can do is like call the stores and talk to the salespeople who know very little more than we do, because they don't have training on talking to the media. They're kind of kept in the same closed loop that the rest of the world is. So all
Sometimes
that
you have to call several stores to get someone to answer the phone even.
Well, that's a whole nother topic that we won't go into right now, but maybe we should. We should do a test to see. Let's call every Tesla store and see how long it takes for them to answer the phone.
Right.
What about those reservation holders for the Plaid Plus? I mean, how do they feel about this?
This is a great question, because I was talking to my friend Brian, who has I1 Tesla YouTube channel, and he recently changed his reservation from a Model S dual motor to a Plaid. And I asked him today, did you see a hike in your price? Because the price has gone up. We don't know if it's for people early or not. He said at the time that I had asked him earlier today that price difference was not reflected yet. But if anyone in the comments can let us know who's watching, will existing reservation holders be subject to the $10,000 price hike, or are they getting grandfathered in on the price? I haven't heard either way.
And on top of that, the Plaid Plus was supposed to have better performance than the regular Plaid model. And I know there are some people out there who wanted the Plaid Plus and were, planning on taking it to the drag strip and to do who knows what with it. But, I wonder if the Plaid will have the same performance as what the Plaid Plus was supposed to have. Kind of curious about that.
People have suggested that maybe they're getting so much performance out of the Plaid that the Plaid Plus is just not necessary. But there's like a big difference. Like the Plaid Plus was supposed to be like an 8-second quarter-mile car, and there's like a big difference between an 8-second car and a 9-second car. It's like a huge difference.
This whole necessary, not necessary argument makes no sense, because you already don't need. Like, I have a Model 3 Performance. You don't need that much power. You just want it. It's cool. Power, really. So if you're already at that level, you don't just go, oh, you don't need that. So there's something else going on here.
Yeah, that was something that was a little disingenuous from Elon, saying like, oh, Plaid is fast enough. You don't need Plaid Plus. Well, if you want to be quite honest, the current Model S is fast enough. You don't need Plaid, so, it's just a matter of how fast you can build it and how far can you make it go. And, the faster is better, and the further the range it is obviously better too. And it's interesting. I mean, we all commented on this back when Tesla announced the Plaid Plus and that it was going to have 520 miles of range. It was like really shortly after Lucid announced that they were expecting the Air to have 517 miles range. It was almost as if like Elon just had to put something out there that was going to be better than Lucid, even if it was just 3 miles. His bravado, just, it has to be faster. It has to go further on everything. And the interesting thing is, for the first time now, we're going to be in a period where, and we're assuming that Lucid is going to deliver what they're promising they're going to deliver in a couple of months. I think, Kyle and I have had a lot of conversations with Lucid. I think they're for real. I think they're going to put the vehicle out that they're promising that they're going to. Kyle had a chance to drive in one. I'm going to have a chance to drive in one in a week or so. And I do believe that they're going to deliver soon. So it's going to be this first period where Tesla isn't going to have absolutely the fastest car, the longest range car. There'll be a couple of things that they're trailing, another automaker in. And that's the first time ever since Tesla started. They've been ahead in every metric, in efficiency, in range, and speed. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing for the industry to see that other manufacturers, the pack is slowly catching up. And I think it's good for electrification in general.
Right.
Yeah. So on the price hike, Trevor Page from Tesla Owners Online. By the way, I don't believe we're continuing our live stream throughout the presentation. I think that's when we're going to jump off and just stream the presentation. Yep. If you're curious about listening in to commentary, Trevor over at Tesla Owners Online will continue commentary on his side throughout the event. So I might jump over there as well and comment away on the YouTubes. Also, now Zach and Jesse are doing something as well. So I'll try and scrounge up the links and put them in this video. Anyway, Trevor messaged me, super nice that he's watching. Thanks, Trev. And said price is grandfathered in. So if you've reserved one, you are not subject to the $10,000 price hike. And I'm sure some people are breathing a sigh of relief after that. But the fact that we have to question this is just ridiculous in the first place.
I mean, it'd be nice to have that information right up front. I don't know. What do you, Michael?
Mm-hmm.
What's your take on that?
It's funny. I mean, when it comes to the Plaid, I don't know. It was a little bit of a disappointment, when the Plaid Plus was canceled, but we'll see what happens today. I mean, a lot of people are attending the event today. A lot of people are invited, and it looks like they'll be have a chance to drive around the track. I'm guessing maybe they'll do some quarter-mile runs there. What kind of events have you all heard about that are happening today at the delivery event?
But they do have that track right beside the stage setup where they have, it's like a kind of a loop. You go up, down one way, and it's like lined in red. And you just go down, do a quick turn, and it comes right back down towards the stage. Looks like a pretty like a high-speed run, basically, kind of deal.
Yeah, that's been there since the early days, and I think that was actually left over from when it was the NUMMI plant, and it was sort of like the vehicle testing. You'll notice when you fly over that place, I've been lucky enough to be there. They have different surfaces you can drive the car on. Similar, we just did a video here on Inside EVs where we dove deep into tire design for electric vehicles. We specifically visited Goodyear's tire testing facility where they developed the standard OEM tire for the Model S that unlocked that over 400-mile EPA range. And over there on their surface, you can see positive and negative input surfaces, different things to test tire complexity or compounds, as well as suspension testing. So that's what this track is really used for at Tesla. I remember there used to be a period of time where they would take every car out of the factory and actually drive them around this track, but I can't imagine they're doing that these days.
Yeah.
Another thing I noticed is that we've had a bunch of comments saying that perhaps they dropped the Plaid Plus because the performance was going to be too close to the Roadster performance. So they didn't want internal competition. And I mean, it sounds interesting, but then why would they have announced it in the first place? We're assuming that all along they did intend to make a Plaid Plus, that this wasn't just some kind of ruse, and that this was a decision recently that they decided to drop it. So why would they go through all that trouble and only now to think, oh, wait a minute, we're going to be competing with the Roadster? That doesn't seem like it really holds water to me.
Yeah, I agree. Plus, the Roadster is such a different car than the sedan, right? It's like two-door sports car with a removable rooftop or whatever.
I just got the worst text message I've ever received. It's from Trevor, and it says, words I never want to hear in my life. It says, Tom is right.
And for those that don't watch the regular weekly Inside EVs podcast, which is on every Friday morning at 9:30 live, we always mention this, that Kyle and I are paid to disagree with each other. So when Kyle hears that one of his friends says that I'm right, that's a dagger in his heart.
That's okay. I have mad respect for Tom. Tom's probably one of the most knowledgeable people in the EV industry if you're just tuning in, and it's all just for giggles, of course.
And one of my good friends, Pete, his name is, he's a regular follower to our podcast. He always comments live that Kyle's right. So, there's got to be a yin and a yang to this relationship.
Hey, so did you guys see any photos of the stage and the setup there?
Negative. Can we pull them up? Is there a way
I'm kind of looking for one that I can't do a video.
We need Martin back. So for our weekly show, which tune in tomorrow morning, because we'll be talking about all the events from tonight. Martin Lee from the EV News Daily podcast cues up all of our visuals. I used to do them for a period of time when he couldn't join, but I don't have the admin login anymore. Somehow I got demoted. And now it's
we're on a different. We're not on Martin's channel today. Sorry.
Right. We're doing it a little differently, but that's okay. I just got some Chick-fil-A dropped off for dinner.
Ooh, nice.
Thank you, Alyssa, for doing that. And living the dream here in the van.
So what about the top speed of 200 miles per hour with those special wheels that aren't out yet?
Yeah, okay, interesting. So they already had the special wheels for Model S, the Arachnids. I actually had them back when I owned a Model S. I put them on my car. I thought they looked really great. Loved the Arachnids. The fact that wheel to them cannot sustain 200 miles an hour is crazy, because that was a really, quite expensive forged material. And so, Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires can do 200 miles an hour. I mean, any Alpina 7 Series can do 200 all day long. Porsche Turbo S, anything can just rip. Not Taycan Turbo S, 911 Turbo S, and Panamera. They can all do over 200 miles an hour. So why is this such a challenge for Tesla? Why do you need to bring it in for these special wheels and tires? I have no clue. It could be a load rating scenario. Model S is quite heavy. It might put it into the next load rating category, and it's a chance that Pilot Sport 4S tires that are equipped on Performance Model S cannot sustain that load rating at a high speed. But just do it from the start. I mean, imagine buying a BMW M5, Tom. You're very familiar with the BMW brand, as am I. And they're like, oh, we're going to sell it to you. It says it does 204 miles an hour, but actually you're going to have to bring it back to your BMW dealer and then give us $10,000.
No other manufacturer would do that. Would sell a car that's capable of going faster than the tire and wheel combo can sustain. Now, will they, and I haven't been on top of this today, I have to admit, will they electronically limit the speed until the tire update? Yeah, because there'd be all kind of problems if they didn't do that. And somebody,
there could be some legal jeopardy.
Exactly. So that's what I was wondering. But like I said, I haven't been really on top of this exactly all day today. But I mean, you're buying a car that, is going to be limited based on the fact that you can't get the right tires and wheels. It's bizarre. I mean, Tesla does a lot of things right, man. And we criticize Tesla, but we love Tesla. I own a Tesla. Kyle owns a Tesla. There's reason why we buy these cars, but Tesla does some things that drives you nuts sometimes. And this is something, there's no reason why they shouldn't have tires and wheels ready, even with the supply chain issues that are going on worldwide now. Tires and wheels would not be something that should be a big problem.
So this is interesting because I recently, like I mentioned, spent a lot of time at the Goodyear testing facility where they design and engineer OEM tires for Tesla and others. and this is a 7-year intensive process to develop a tire package for a vehicle. And all this tells me, and they're getting that from 7 years is the traditional time frame, closer down to 3 years with more advanced computer modeling. To develop an OEM tire requires a lot of work with that specific vehicle. That just tells me that Tesla, this is a very last minute decision, right? If they had planned on doing this from years ago, like an S-Class, for example, is planned 12 years in advance or something like this, then this would have been sorted. But Tesla is unlike any other automaker in which they operate at the speed of light, which has so many benefits and is really leading the way for innovation within automotive in many ways. And, part of that is the rest of the industry isn't equipped to handle their type of speed. So that's why I think they're having these tire issues personally for this. But I think, if they're promising 6 months down the road, add a year onto that.
So on this Twitter account, that Tesla guy, he's showing a set of tires on there that I believe are possibly on a Plaid Model S. The tweet says Plaid stock PPF. Oh, that's a finish. That's paint protection film. Laminated glass, 3 permanent magnet motors.
So there's 3. So no induction motor on this then.
It says 3 permanent magnet motors. I'm not sure. I don't know. We can't verify their information.
Well, the front of the current Model S is permanent magnet. Then the rear 2 would probably be permanent magnet, which means you can't shut any of the motors off. Which has benefits and not. Permanent magnet motors, though, have a ton of torque off the line, so that should help this.
Right.
What do y'all think about that claimed 1.990 to 60 time? I'm curious to see if that's only on a prep surface or if a Tesla owner could go out and do that on the street or...
Well, I'm okay with them doing that on a prep surface as long as they have the traction that you can get. Give me the number for that. I think that's acceptable. And every automaker kind of does a 1 foot rollout as well, which is hugely beneficial for this car because with a manual transmission, that 1 foot rollout may not make as much of a difference as it does with full torque from 0. And so this is really a low 2-second 0 to 60 car if they're claiming 199 in consumer 0 to 60 testing. And really, Porsche is the only one who underrates their products in that acceleration department.
Yeah, they don't use rollout, Porsche, Kyle. And not every manufacturer does. Most of them do. That'd be something interesting for us to do an article one day on and really go manufacturer to manufacturer and see which ones use rollout. Now, Gary Clark just posted rollout with a question mark. So, Gary, what that means is some of the manufacturers and car magazines, when they give you a 0 to 60 time, they include what they call rollout, which means when they and this is pretty crazy because I just told you when they give you a 0 to 60 time, they quote it. They're not actually quoting 0 to 60.
Right.
They press the accelerator, the car starts moving, but they don't start the clock until the car has traveled 1 foot. And the average, like a high performance car, can be going 5 or 6 miles an hour at the end of that 1 foot. So when you see a lot of these 0 to 60 times, it's not. It's like 6 to 60. And that's what Tesla uses on their website when they give you their performance figures. They use what they call rollout, but only on their performance version vehicles. I'm pretty sure the regular vehicles, they don't use rollout when they quote it. So,
or was it the other way around? I remember thinking they're closer than they actually are.
Right, which they're closer than they actually are, which means on the base models they don't use rollout, so the car appears slower. And on their performance cars, they use rollout, so it appears faster. So, like a Model 3, regular dual motor long range is 4.3 seconds, 4.2 seconds, 0 to 60.
They're not the same test as what's on the website.
Exactly, basically. So basically what they're doing is they're making the performance versions look a little bit quicker than what they are. And as Kyle said before, I don't mind when people use rollout because it's kind of becoming an industry standard. As long as you note it, you put the asterisk, you say on the bottom includes rollout, that's fine. But when you do it with some vehicles and not some other vehicles, that's where it gets a little dicey. So that's one of the things. So the 0 to 60 on 1.99 seconds includes rollout. So It's actually 6 to 60, so that it's really, you know, not 60 mile an hour acceleration. It's a 54 mile an hour acceleration. The car's still fast as all hell. So you know, nobody could tell the difference in the car between a 2.1 and a 1.99, you know, 0 to 60 time. It's you know, this is all just for bragging rights.
Right. Totally agree. And you know, they're all mental. You know, going back to the days when I used to own a Model S P100E, that was mental at the time. One of my favorite things to do was to get all of my friends in the car and just launch it over and over and over. And that car probably had 1,500 launches on it, if not more, by the time I was done with it. And it held up just fine. I mean, maybe I ripped the front motor out of it just once, but it held up other than that. I'm really expecting something pretty spicy from tonight. You know, the whole Plaid Plus claims, I don't think they are going to just say we don't need to hit those numbers anymore. They put those out there. Those were targeted engineering goals for a vehicle. Maybe they can't hit those today or in the time frame that they suggested, but I think we're going to see a one more thing. I really do think this is going to be a big deal. And I think we're going to see, oh, we canceled Plaid Plus because now we have something else that's going to be just absolutely stupid.
Well, to that point, okay, so we showed you that. Let's see if I can bring it back up here again. Okay, so this is the staging area where the stage is going to be, and they have a bunch of cars here. I believe these are going to be the cars that are delivered. There's like a couple dozen of them, I believe. But if you look over here, in the middle center,
are they all gray? First of all, except for two. There's like black and then
black and gray. Oh, I think a blue. I see a blue up in there.
Oh, getting exciting over here.
Right. So, but you can see there's two cars that are covered over there too. So we don't know what those are. So some people were speculating there's two cars under car covers. This is not the best shot because they're kind of small. They're up at the top of the photo. But some people were speculating that was the $25,000 car. I don't think they are, but I mean, that would be something that would.
I think they would show the Cybertruck before the $25,000 car. There's going to be some kind of surprise tonight.
Because we've already had so many vehicle launches, more or less, or reveals that haven't happened. So, like, I guess, what, Semi-Truck happened, and then Roadster, those aren't on the road. And what else is announced and not coming? Yeah, Semi hasn't happened yet. Yeah. So does it make sense to announce yet another product that, based off of previous history, is going to be years away?
Right.
Oh, no, we need the production version of the Cybertruck. Give it to us. That's what we need.
Just because you're buying one.
That's true, right? Yeah, I'm scrolling through Twitter trying to find a good shot. There were some shots of people like on the ground, more close up to those covered cars. If I can find them.
Aren't there rumors of a Tesla van too?
There should be a Tesla van. I don't know if they could put that
on. Let me tell you, that would be the best thing ever. So for those who don't know, I just bought this Sprinter van that's converted to an RV from Winnebago. And it has the craziest turbo lag off the line. You floor it, and it's like 3 seconds of not moving. I kid you not. Alyssa took it out today, and she's like, wow, this is dangerous. I'm like, yes, I know. It'd be amazing to have this electric and an electric van. Lightning E-Motors here in Colorado builds electric vans. They're so cool.
Yeah, Kyle now lives in a van down by the river, in case anybody was asking.
I live in my van in my driveway. It's cooler than my house.
All right. Hey, so if you're just joining us now, we were going to start this at 11, but this is the Inside EV's Tesla Model S Plaid delivery event pre-show. And I believe the event will be kicking off here in 24 minutes and 26 seconds. Yeah, some of the information has been switched back and forth. Originally, they believe they tweeted out it started at 10 o'clock. The live stream would start at 10 o'clock Eastern, but that's just when the gates open, and then the actual the presentation should start at 11:30 Eastern time.
Should start.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys remember some of the early Tesla press releases. My God, where we were waiting all night for Elon to come on the stage. Please don't do that again to us, Elon.
They seem to be getting better with their timing. You know, I was lucky enough to attend the Cybertruck event, and that I remember was pretty well organized, happened quite well. I think they're getting better with this stuff. They realize there is now a bit of an expectation when it comes to these events. But I want to bring up an interesting topic that I'm really curious on Michael's thoughts on, and both of you, Dominic and Tom, as well, which is, At what point, from a journalist standpoint, Michael used to work with Motor Trend and some big publications as well, for those who don't realize, at what point are we just reporting on vaporware, right? Because Plaid Plus, announced, never became a thing. Now it's canceled. So they just got that whole news cycle, that page 1, here's what Tesla's doing, and then that page 11, it's canceled. Let's just move on. At what point do we just stop reporting on stuff until someone can actually buy it? Because that's where I'm at. Automakers, Mustang Mach-E, for example, they say, we'll fix the charging curve. We'll fix plug-in charge. Well, 6 months later, plug-in charge is fixed, but charging curve still sucks. When do we stop trusting automakers to, rely on their information? And then we only say this is the case when you can buy it, because I'm right at that point.
Good question. I mean, we have to report on the news and what people say. We can frame it in such a way as people can understand that we don't necessarily trust everything that we're hearing as the absolute truth, because we don't know until we actually see something or have some evidence or some something to point to that says this is a true fact. This is a car that's coming in this time frame. But with cancellations like this, and there's been a ton over the years. Dozens, I would say, electric vehicle companies that we've reported on different. We've all reported on that. Those companies never even made it off the ground. Never made it to job 1 of producing something. Sometimes never got off the drawing board. And but you have to write about things as they come. But people have to understand that it might not actually get to the road. It's a challenge. We're looking at like Lordstown Motors right now. They have that endurance pickup truck with the in-wheel motors, and it's kind of cool. But now they're not sure they have enough cash to really make a go of it to continue, with their plan. And they've got their factory already built, and they've got crash testing done, and they've got I think 47 out of 50 some beta vehicles produced already for their beta program that's supposed to end by the end of the month. But now we don't know if it's going to make it to September,
And it's not even just cars too. It's software. For example, full self-driving. How long have we been hearing full self-driving beta is going to make it to a thing? I drove on full self-driving beta. Man, it feels at least almost a year ago. And it's still hasn't moved the needle.
It was last October, I believe.
So this is just a whole nother news cycle of nonsense, I think. Michael, what do you think?
Well, it's like you mentioned earlier, it would help a lot. Well, at least with Tesla vehicles, it would help a lot if we actually had a PR department that we could communicate to, that we get more solid information from, versus Elon Musk tweets. That's a lot of information we get from his tweets. That's not the best way to get information, of course. I really wish there was a PR department. But we're in the early age of electric vehicles. We're in the early age of all this new type of software. A lot of the times I don't think manufacturers know what they're getting themselves into, and I think a lot of times they overpromise a lot of these new features and a lot of the performance and whatnot. So it's hard to say what is vaporware and what's not, because I don't even know the manufacturers know sometimes.
Sure.
So it's tough right now to know exactly what to believe when manufacturers talk about all these things. But in Tesla's case, I really would hope that they would get some kind of a PR department back or something like that. That'd be very helpful.
Definitely, yes. Someone mentions in the comments here that the Rimac Navara has a 1.86.
Oh, here we go.
I know. You were thinking the same thing I was thinking.
Okay.
Sorry, Dom,
for
hijacking it. As soon as Dominic hears Rimac, it's all over. Sorry to interrupt, Tom. Go ahead.
But to Kyle's point, we don't know that either. I mean, that's the number that they've calculated that they believe it will do, but they haven't done that yet. They haven't shown us doing that yet.
Wait, did you see them doing 140 plus on that little tiny dirt road or that mountain road though?
Yeah.
That was ridiculous. It was so bad that the test driver turned himself into the police.
I think he was asked probably to do that.
That was
I think his boss
definitely not smart.
No, but crazy capable car, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah. Let's see. Hopefully that'll be interesting to see how the Roadster now. Because I think there will be a Roadster. I know it's easy to be skeptical of it in light of maybe
they'll
the Plaid
make
Plus.
it, but will they make
Right.
it in next year or in 10 years? I mean,
Right.
someone said, I'm disheartened by the delays. I'm not disheartened by the delays. Set the timing expectation. I understand that there will be delays. I'm disheartened that we have like 6 products out there, not just from Tesla, but also from other automakers, that it's just the hype train and then it will never happen. And so, I have to operate under my own, as we can only judge the things that we can physically test. We constantly receive vehicles, Tom and I, to review combustion and electric on my side that do not meet manufacturers' claimed ratings. Just like Lucid, we do not know what Lucid's going to be like as a production vehicle. Tesla Fudge just commented, you're absolutely correct. We had a great first taste. If they can't sell it to the public, we had a great first taste in the concept car. And that's where we're at. We just don't know.
But we also get one thing that's an advantage for us is that we get to talk to the people in these companies. We get to reach out to them, talk to the PR departments, visit the companies. And that's one of the advantages that we have. Like, I get a good feeling about companies, some of these startups that I can speak to. I can go visit them. They don't seem to be hiding anything, but there are some of these startups out there that won't take phone calls, where you send them an email and then you get an email response that looks like it came from their legal department. Well, and I don't want to mention names, but I think some of the listeners can kind of figure this out on some of the startups out there that are like on kind of shaky ground now. But that sends up all the red flags. But when you deal with companies like, say, a Rivian or Lucid, that they're forthcoming with everything. We don't have any problems getting information with them. They even basically say you can come visit our facilities. That's when we feel really comfortable that there's a good chance they might make it.
Yep, 100%. Always a gut feeling, always massaging that back end. We have none of that with Tesla, of course. But let's talk Tesla positive for a second.
Sure.
These cars, just setting the stage here, have been the most reliable, the most popular, and the most desirable EVs for a very long time. And they continue to get better over time. Yeah. Certainly with over-the-air software updates, there are opportunities for the car to get worse or better. But I will say I've owned 3 Teslas now for years, and very, very infrequently will I say it's ever gotten worse. It is my Model 3 Performance that I've had for a year and a half now, has about 100,000 miles on it. This car is a tank with a ton of track time. Still
torture
gets
tested.
What was that?
Torture tested in the mountains, on dirt roads, sideways.
Yeah, it has
jumping.
a couple little plastic pieces hanging down off of it, but drivetrain wise, interior wise, the white seats with my 3 dogs really has held up well. So what I'm expecting is for them to improve upon that amazing reliability, that amazing performance here tonight with Model S. And we're going to see potentially a whole new chapter, not just of Tesla, but potentially a whole new chapter of cars. And if they can deliver this new super sports EV sedan market, they might just be the first ones to it. Taycan Turbo S is impressive, but I wouldn't call it necessarily a supercar. And it definitely has supercar-like numbers on paper, but you don't get that feeling while driving it.
This will be a supercar. This will be a super sedan.
It kind of sounds like it's going to be a super car sedan type thing, and I'm so excited to at least see what it's like and get it out on track and test all these things.
I can't wait to see that steering wheel in action, or how do you call that?
The yoke.
The yoke steering, yeah.
I'm not on that yet.
What do you think of that yoke steering? Do you like that?
I've written a lot about the yoke steering over these past few months. And at first I thought it was a joke at first. I think a lot of people did too. Because just picture yourself trying to drive with a yoke steering wheel, especially doing a tight 3-point turn in a parking lot or something like that.
Right.
I wonder how they're going to make it work. Because obviously there's no top part to the steering wheel, So in certain cases that's going to be a little tricky. I'm guessing maybe they'll have some kind of adaptive steering system, right, to where, at slow speeds input is different than, versus higher speeds. I don't know exactly how that's going to work. I'm very curious, and I, of course, want to try it. But it's hard to picture myself driving with that type of steering wheel in a passenger car. It's just it's going to be very bizarre at first. I wonder how Tesla owners are going to react to it. I'm real curious.
Well, in a race car, it only turns like 90 degrees, right?
Yeah, so really quick steering ratios in race cars. Here for street use, it's not quite the same thing.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to watch. I really think Michael's point about having a variable ratio steering rack will work very well. This is not uncommon to have in cars. Almost any luxury vehicle now has a variable ratio rack. Tesla would just have to maybe turn that up and make it a way that it's predictable. It's not a full yoke like with just two posts. It's more of a U. So if you're upside down with it, you at least have something to grab onto when you're 180 degrees of lock on the wheel. And it'll be interesting to see. I mean, look, I think they're getting pretty risky with the safety stuff right now. I think, they're removing radar. They are taking steering wheels, half out of the car, where my Model 3 still isn't great on autopilot to the point where I would not, fully pay attention while using it. So I'm wondering if they're jumping the gun with this yoke thing, but either way, I think we'll get to it at some point. And it definitely looks cool. No question there.
It'll be interesting to see too the no gear selector thing, how that's going to work tonight in the because the cars will have to pull up and they'll be taking people for rides, I guess.
They'll just be going backwards.
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
Oh, reverse drag race. Whoops, sorry, I meant to go forward. Sorry about your bumper.
Right. I mean, I'm sure they have that all ironed out. There shouldn't be any, I mean, they've got to have that kind of stuff ironed out. There shouldn't be any they've never had any problems like that really in their past demos, I think, right? Things have gone relatively smooth, at least on the public-facing things. I'm sure things are crazy behind the scenes.
Yeah, the glass was a little. Although some people still think that was planned. It got people talking. So
it was great. It was kind of good for them. I think it got them a lot of attention. That when you make get lemons, you make lemonade, kind of thing. Yeah. So it's worked out well for them.
So one new feature I think that we might see tonight is for a Model S at least is the active rear wing. There is video footage of the Model S at Laguna Seca Raceway, and it had an active rear wing. And I'm wondering if they'll be showing that off tonight at the event.
Well, didn't it set a record there as well?
Is that something that is even worth showing off? Active rear wings have been on cars since the 70s, and so now it's just going to be Tesla has active aero. It's the same as the Lotus Avaya with all those cool things moving around because they both have active aero. I don't know.
Well, the Model X had an active one at one point, didn't it?
Yeah, so early Model X, and it was for P90D or reservation holders for 90D as well could get an active rear spoiler. It added 1% range, and my best friend had a 90D tan with 7-seat on tan. It was so ugly, and it had the active rear wing. It was the weirdest Model X, and I missed that car.
No, you're right. An active rear wing is nothing new, but it did look pretty neat on that Model S at the track. You got to say, it looked pretty cool.
So, any other features that we're looking forward to? How about you guys out there in chat land? There's a lot of people on our YouTube chat actually trying to keep up with everything.
So someone asked about an M2. I assume they mean Model 2 and not the BMW M2,
right.
Which is the incorrect use of the. I don't really care. I'm over it. Yeah, Model 2 or whatever they're going to call the less expensive one will be interesting. But I get people want to buy new cars and it's easier to get financing on a new car, but you can buy a Tesla under 30 grand now. Old Model S's are under 30 grand. It doesn't move the needle that far forwards, I think. What do you think, Dominic?
I think Model 2 is just a little bit too far out for right now to show us. I think if anything, I'd like to see the Cybertruck in production form, or I would like to see the smaller version of the Cybertruck that they also mentioned. They mentioned a second version, a smaller one for like Europe and different places like that, different markets. No one remembers. Is it just me?
I don't know. But from what I want to say, the final design will shrink a little bit from what we've seen right now. That might be what you're referring to. I think Elon said it'll shrink about 3%. The final design.
No, there's a second one.
Oh, there is.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Not familiar with
Oh,
it.
supposedly. But, I
Yeah,
mean,
they
he hasn't mentioned. It's been
definitely
some time
mentioned-
since it was mentioned. So
Definitely mentioned a smaller pickup truck. Speaking of small pickup trucks, that Ford Maverick looks awesome,
yeah.
and we've heard of some electric stuff. Really, 20 grand for a hybrid
part is
pickup
good.
truck sounds amazing.
Yeah,
I mean,
that part is good.
Get the looks just based off of numbers alone.
And a
That's going
hybrid.
to be huge things for America. I think that's going to be one of the most influential new vehicles on sale.
And there
And
will
if
be an
Tesla-
electric one too, eventually.
Right, Mike Levine tweeted that out today, I think.
Yeah, we'll talk about that tomorrow on the podcast at 9:30
Oh,
a.m.
great.
Yes. I have that
8
lined
minutes countdown now to the Tesla Model S Plaid delivery event. Tom,
Yes.
what are you most looking forward to?
Well, I hope we get some clarity on production. I know there's going to be a handover now, but is this going to be a handover and then there's like 10 more handovers in the next month, and then it really doesn't start going into full production for a while? And I know we've seen pictures of them sitting in the parking lots, but are they waiting on chips? We know Tesla had some problems with chips. There's so many customers right now that are waiting, that have made the reservations for such a long time. I've had, I can't even tell you how many people have emailed me through my YouTube channel or through Inside EVs asking me, hey, do you have any inside information? I ordered this car back in November. I can't go on any further. My lease is up. The Tesla's got to start getting these vehicles in the hands of people. I know 3 people that have told me that have canceled their reservation. 2 of them bought Taycans, and the other one just bought a regular Mercedes, a gasoline Mercedes. So, Tesla's got to get these things out there. It looks like that's what we're leading to. That's what tonight is all about. But I hope that this isn't just like a ceremonial handover, and then we don't start getting thousands of them delivered until September. I hope this is the beginning of the floodgates are going to open. People are going to start getting their cars.
But I like a good Tesla event, so I'm kind of glad it's happening, even if there is a bit of a lag between now and the actual, the real, the big deliveries. Yeah. Well,
Right, but tell us, tell us,
oh yeah,
full deliveries are going to start in a couple of months. We're still a couple of months away. Let's hope that we get some clarity of what that's going to be like tonight.
Be transparent about that. Hey, I just wanted to say a quick shout out to Mr. Isaiah Lewis. He's a local guy to me, I think, at Tallahassee, and has a great YouTube channel. If you're young into investing, check out his channel.
Yeah, so that's a great channel to reach out to. I've been looking for more investing channels. Personally, I don't invest in automakers. Just ethically, we're reporting on them, and I think actually full-time Inside EV staff cannot invest in. Right, and not since I'm not, but I ethically don't do it. But I've been so fascinated, and my dad's really into these new investor channels like Meat Testing and others. And and so great to have a new one on, especially if he's local to you. And would love to pick his brain a little bit and see what he thinks about these new startup EV stocks. We'll have to coordinate that next time I'm in Florida visiting you, Dominic.
That'd be interesting. Yeah, he's a young guy. He's like, but he's got an interesting channel. Definitely worth checking out.
I have a question here. Eric Loveday asked this question: if money were no object, would you all buy one? So if money were no object, guys, which electric vehicle would you buy? Dom, why don't you start?
You know what I'm going to say, but I actually, I don't know. It's really hard because if I love the idea of having like the Rimac Navara, but I also
can I guess which practical EV you're going to buy before you say it?
Sure.
Because it's so weird. I already know what it is. It's a Nissan Aria.
No, it's not.
Really?
No. I want a pickup truck. I have a pickup truck in my garage. I don't drive it anymore. I got a Spark EV. I need to start it up. It's been months since I started it up. I need to do that so it doesn't just like seize up or whatever. But I really like to be able to throw some kayaks in the thing and go fishing. I like to have the bed so I can put, if I happen to catch fish, I can put it in the back. It's not going to stink up the interior or whatever. It's just, or moving people or moving wood for people. I just like having a pickup truck. It's just really handy for me. And an electric one is a lot more efficient. It just it's really what I want. And it's just a matter of deciding which pickup truck there is, now Cybertruck is a bit crazy out there for my taste of styling, but it does seem pretty capable and it's a decent value. So it's, that and the Rivian. Yeah. I don't know. Someone else.
How about you, Kyle?
Taycan Turbo S Cross Turismo. Is there anything else?
Right.
Michael, what do you think?
Well, I like small, fun cars to drive. I've always enjoyed just small, fun cars to drive. So I would likely just go with the Model 3 Performance. I know that might sound lame, but
Ah.
I like fun cars to drive, and that car is an absolute blast to drive.
Yeah,
It's
as far as
one of my
bang for the
favorites.
buck, I mean, that's why I bought one, right? You cannot get more performance for the money with the crazy adjustability of track mode. It's amazing. Every time I don't drive that car, and it's been a few months, I kind of go, oh, well, what's the big deal? And then I get back in it, and it's my automotive reset, and I shred it up a back road, and I'm like, whoa, this is special. Tom, what would you go for?
So, probably the same as you, the Taycan Cross Turismo. I don't know if I'd need the Turbo S. But after driving that car, I just fell in love with it. It's amazing. Although I will qualify it by saying I haven't had a chance to drive any of the electric pickup trucks yet. And I'm a pickup truck guy. So, maybe a tri-motor Cybertruck, maybe a fully loaded F-150 Lightning. So I'd want to drive those cars first. But right now, those vehicles aren't available. If you told me, look, tomorrow we're going to deliver it and you drive it, what do you want? Taycan Cross Turismo.
That thing is just so mental because you can put, it's got so much more room than the regular Taycan. I was lucky to be, I think, the first person in the entire country to drive it, or at least the first media to drive it. I think JF did some shoots with it the day before. And just an amazing, mind-bending machine. You could put all the dogs in the back and do, crazy physics-defying moves on the street. And
Yeah.
Model S is very similar. Model S doesn't have, sort of that same sense of sharpness on a back road. In fact, the Model S isn't very sporty at all. So I'm hoping that this will at least allow the option for suspension upgrades, brake upgrades, because I've had plenty of Model S's out on track. They overheat and, they just cannot handle that kind of stress yet. Maybe with Plaid,
So
man, that's
a good point. Now, so this is it's going to have a new battery. Is it going to be the 2170 cells that are in the Model 3 and Model Y, and maybe it'll be able to support that kind of performance now in this. I hope so. It's a Plaid. It's got to have that kind of performance, right? You got to be able to track it.
Well, I would think Model 3 is really the standard, and Model 3 is the best thermal longevity of any production EV at this point, I would say, more than Taycan with half the voltage. Incredible technology. I think the Model S is going to have to at least match that for track stuff. So I'm expecting a huge leap forward technologically here. And it won't take very long to know because it's a delivery event. I assume people are taking these cars home and just keep refreshing the newest upload on YouTube because we're going to see a whole bunch of crazy stuff.
But it's not likely they're going to start taking the battery packs apart to see what's in there. But I mean, I'm sure they'll tell us. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to tonight is to learning more about exactly the battery pack and maybe hopefully some of the design of it, the battery pack, the internals, and maybe the cooling strategy. Those are all kind of important things to me.
Well, 30 seconds left to the timer. I think it's time we all sort of back off as presenters because I don't believe we have plans to, sort of speak throughout the event. So I want to say thanks to everyone for watching and, tuning into our weekly show that Dominic puts together. He works so hard on that, and it's an awesome experience to be on our weekly Inside EVs podcast.
Tomorrow morning at 9:30, we'll be following up on what we find out here tonight in under 10 seconds. Here we go, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
All right. So keep watching. We're just going to turn the screen and the Tesla presentation will take over everything, and you can watch it here and enjoy. Oh, we'll start soon. Should we wait until we see exactly?
Let's wait until we see the thing.
Until something happens
later,
for sure.
It says 11:15. Well, it's 9:15 my time, 11:15 East. Michael, are you in California? You mentioned you were in a hotel. Where are you?
I'm in San Diego right now.
Oh, nice.
A bit of traveling, yeah.
Great.
So it's 8:15 over where I am right now.
Right.
Oh, it's 8:15.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. 8:15.
Oh, it is.
California.
Right. Okay. So we might have. Right. So at different points, Tesla has tweeted out different times. So today, originally they said 7:00 live stream starts, right? Pacific time. Then we did then we learned today that the gates would open or the presentation would start at 11:30, but then they tweeted out that 11:15 it would happen, and it is now 11:15 and it's not quite happening yet. But I mean, there's usually like these small delays. Typically, I think if you were on Twitter, I'm sure there's people saying TikTok, to
Someone
Elon
commented
time.
about, someone commented about half an hour ago that Elon wasn't even there yet, but I'm not too sure how true that is.
Right.
Well, I was thinking, being Elon, you're probably flying in from like Louisiana or some random place. You get off the plane, give your presentation, then you got to fly to Texas.
Well, right to that point about the time thing. So like we had the countdown that was going on. It still had 15 minutes left on the countdown before this screen came up from the original countdown. Something changed at some point, but
Oh, really?
I was just looking at because it was timed originally to come to 0 at 11:30 Eastern time.
Oh,
But somehow it didn't. It was now. I'm not sure. I didn't catch the change, but I just looking at somebody I follow on
so
Twitter.
we have another 15 minutes.
Well, possibly, but it might come in. It might happen before that.
Can you refresh the page that computer's on?
I can. I'm not sure that's going to change anything. I'm hoping it won't kick it off. That's refreshed, and it looks the same. Oh, someone says they ran out of Bitcoin. That is possible. There's a lot of discussion of Dodge and other cryptocurrencies when we first came on. It's kind of interesting.
Well, while we're waiting, why don't we talk about what we drive? Because 3 of us have EVs, and Michael, you've spent a lot of time with EVs back to the early days as well. So, Dominic, tell us a little bit about your electric car.
I drive a Spark EV, a Chevy Spark EV, 2015, the higher trim level. It's got like 24,000 miles on it now, I think. And the front wheels probably need to be replaced. It's a load of fun. It's quick. It's maneuverable. It's front wheel drive, so there's a ton of torque spare because if you're driving like 30 miles an hour, you kick it down, the front wheels will start spinning. It's got like a crazy amount of torque, like you would imagine. And it's just a blast of a city car. I love that thing. I might sell it actually soon though, because the values of these are so high right now. It's kind of a good time to sell.
Well, your car, I've driven it. I've been one of the lucky few to drive the blue Spark. It's the best color, and it is stupidly torquey. Yeah, someone just commented 327 pound-feet of torque in the Spark EV, CCS charging. That is a underappreciated, awesome car.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, cannot complain.
And Tom, you have had so many cars over the years, from a DeLorean to like stuff I don't even know that it ever existed because you're so old. So what do you have?
Yeah, before your day, I had a twin turbo Mazda RX-7 in '93. I had the DeLorean. I had a Porsche Boxster S. I had 2 Honda CRX SIs, and one I put a nitrous oxide kit on it. So it was a crazy car that surprised everyone. But for electric vehicles, I had the Mini E. Then I had the Active E from BMW. Those were pilot programs. Then I had the 2014 i3, 2018 i3S, the 2019 Model 3, and now I have a 2021 Model 3, which is my daily driver. I sold the 19, got the 21 just so I could check out all the refreshes and so forth and do content on that. So like we mentioned earlier, we kind of give Tesla the business about a lot of the things they do, but yet we're driving their vehicles. They still make some of the best electric vehicles, and the Model 3 is the best bang for the buck. Kyle said it earlier. If you're on limited resources like we all are here, and you want to get the most out of your money for a 5-passenger sedan that's also a performance vehicle, you can't beat the Model 3. I mean, nobody's been able to touch that for the price point that it's at. The manufacturers are getting closer now. They're really starting to put pressure on Tesla, but Tesla still has that secret sauce. So I love my Model 3, and we'll see what's next. Either a Cybertruck, or I have an F-150 Lightning reservation too. So I think my next vehicle is going to be an electric pickup truck. But who can give it to me first? That might be the decision on which way I go.
Well, Tom, I totally agree. Sorry, Dominic, go ahead.
People asking about when it's going to start. I think it's going to be like 10 minutes. Someone said in the chat that the Tesla YouTube stream said 11 minutes, and now it's 10 minutes. So 11:30. I'm going to guess it's going to happen at 11:30.
So allow me to brag on Tom for just a second, because Tom is, for those who don't know and are just tuning in, one of the legit OGs of electric vehicles in this whole country. Part of the Electric Mini E program, number 250. Awesome car. I recently saw number 237, I think it was, down in Florida. So saw a very close relative to Tom's original Mini E. They've all been decommissioned except for a handful. He was then part of the 1 Series Active E program. That's where I heard of Tom when I was just a little kid, and he knew my dad back when like the i3s were a thing and those were coming out. And so I've known Tom for probably close to half of my life, if not more. And I've always looked up to him and appreciated his EV adventures, and has sort of been one of the reasons why I got into EVs. So huge, awesome, to have Tom around all the time is great. I know we argue a lot, but awesome to have him around. So Michael, I know you don't currently have an electric car, but you've been testing them and renting them and trying out some stuff. So you recently had to go in a Tesla Model Y. What did you think? Which one would you purchase? I know you mentioned Model 3 earlier.
Unfortunately, I do not own an EV, mostly for cost reasons, but the next vehicle will, of course, be an EV. Now, but although I've driven almost every single EV on the market, including every single Tesla when I was at Motor Trend, and I was lucky enough to drive a Model 3 before it even hit the market. I drove a Model 3, it was a single motor version of it.
Nice.
At a proving ground, so I was able to take it on a high-speed oval and a winding track, and that's where I instantly fell in love with the Model 3. As soon as I was done taking it around the winding track, I was basically sold on it. It was up there with other very high performing sports cars around the track. And yes, I have been testing Teslas recently, doing some range tests and some charging analysis, and I'll be putting up some video about that soon. And I mean, Teslas are great for many reasons. I mean, I could go on and on about why I like Teslas, but my very small complaints about Teslas would just be, the suspension's a little stiff. It sometimes crashes over the dips and the big bumps, and it's a little loud at times. There's a wind noise and whatnot. But overall, they're great vehicles.
I have a friend actually has a Tesla Model 3 in town, one of my good friends, and I haven't actually driven. I think I've driven in his car like once, like a year ago or something. Briefly, I need to get behind the wheel of that because it's been a while since I've even driven a Model 3. I'm not on the list of like Kyle here and Tom to get cars delivered to their house.
Well, so Tesla doesn't do that.
Right.
So that's why we had to buy them. And one of the reasons I bought a Model 3 was a business decision, which is we have a huge Tesla audience and combustion car and other EV audience, but we can get any combustion car we want or any electric car we want. We just call it Volkswagen, say, hey, can you send an ID4 over? We'll make some videos and then we'll give it back. And that's kind of how this world works. Tesla does not participate in that world. So for comparison videos, for range tests, for road trips, everyone wants to see how the Tesla does. That's why I bought one.
Yeah, and that's what one of the points Kyle just made about we can't call Tesla and ask for a press car like we can with every other OEM. We do this 70-mile-an-hour range test, Kyle and I do, for Inside EVs. And some people complain sometimes, oh, you haven't done the Model S. You haven't done the standard range Model 3. It's because we don't have them. Like, we have to borrow them from friends. We do the cars that we get, and that's why we do all of the other cars from all the other major manufacturers, because we can just simply call them up and ask them, and they deliver them to us. For Tesla, we can do our own personal cars, but then we need to get people. Sometimes we even have some of our followers reach out to us and say, hey, I have a Tesla Model X or whatever. Would you like to use it for our range test? Which is super cool. We really appreciate it. But I know one of the things we're getting a lot of people ask us for lately is a 2021 standard range, Model 3. So if anybody lives either near me in New Jersey or by Kyle out in California, we'd love to grab one of those to do one of our range tests with, because we can't ask Tesla to give us one.
Well, you're absolutely right.
Good
Just
point.
finding cars in general is a tough thing on the Tesla world. I think we can spend a little bit more time on it. The range tests that Tom and I do are very standardized and take a lot of time. So it's sometimes difficult to say, hey, we're going to take your car, full charge it, run it down to where it can't move anymore, and then DC charge it back up. And a lot of people are like, whoa, you're going to do that to my baby? And I'm like, well, that's what we have to do. So some people are super cool with it. EV Dave is one of them. He's just like, yeah, take whatever you want. And thankfully, EV Dave kind of has almost every single Tesla in the garage. And it's super, super awesome. He's almost at 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, if not already hit it. So
Nice.
subscribe over there. He has one of the most gorgeous properties with like every Tesla in his garage.
Someone's pointed out on Twitter that the Model S Plaid has black brake calipers on the test cars, at least for the event. And are those new wheels as well?
So those are the new Arachnids, is what they look like. Tesla, it's same style of wheel pretty much across the board, but the outer rim, I'd say the 3 inches of the outer rim has now become completely flat. And this is an aerodynamics move. If the wheel's curved up top, you're catching wind and it's hurting your resistance at the point where the wheel's traveling the farthest on the outer rim. And so this move, I think, is really a nice update to range. We've seen it with Model 3. The black brake caliper thing, that's interesting. We're going back to the days of Model S Performance. You used to be able to get black brake calipers on old Model S Performance. I'm talking 2013, 2014. There's P85 Pluses out there without red calipers. There's P100Ds without spoilers on the back. There's P100Ds without ludicrous. Even, and those were just for inventory cars. You were never really able to order them except for a short period of time. Wow, the new Plaid badge looks really crazy. Imagine cleaning up all in through there. You can already see it's been a problem on this car because I think they've all been sitting in a lot for the last many weeks. I saw a picture where like air suspension had failed. They were sitting on the
you need a
suspension blocks. So that's interesting.
So that's a picture of the Plaid badge like on the side of the car. Yeah. It's going to be fun detailing that.
People are going to be like, is that the Union Jack British flag? Or
it's right on the back. This is it here on the back, right?
Yeah, so it's back where it used to say, Model S 90D or 100D will now say Plaid back there. It looks the same as Model S Forever. Diffuser looks similar. Rear lip looks similar. Just blacked out that trim around. Not much difference there.
Right. All right. So we're just a couple minutes now from actually, for real this time, the kickoff.
Well, we don't know for real. Let's be honest.
Okay, good point. That's fair.
So do we want to take bets on what the surprise will be?
Man.
All right, I'm going to take a bet that I don't think there's going to be a surprise. I think they're going to go, hey, you just gave us all this money. Here's your car. Have a nice day.
I don't know. Elon's a showman. He always, it's always like those infomercials at the end. But wait, that's not all. Not only do you get the Plaid Plus, but here's the Cybertruck. We're going to get something. They won't let us down.
I want to see the production Cybertruck, but I'm not sure that it's going to be that big a difference between the original Cybertruck and the production version that we're going to be able to see any real difference. Oh, it's a Cybertruck. It looks the same. Nothing's really, even if it's like slightly smaller, there might be some small adjustments. But I don't even know if they're going to bring it. But I'd like to see that anyway.
You're probably right, Dom. But you know what? I just want to see it shown just so, we're at that stage now where it's locked in and there it is. Okay. It's because how many times, I think the first time Elon tweeted that he was going to show the production version, I think it was in September of last year. Like, within 2 weeks, we were going to get the locked in final version of the production. And how many times has he tweeted, very soon, 2 weeks, very soon, 2 weeks. It just keeps going on forever. So that leads me to think that there's problems there. They don't have it locked down. They don't have it to show, or I think they would have.
Hey guys, what was the range? I'm just on Tesla's website right now. What's the range? Because it's showing 390 miles estimated range. That was
the old estimated range. That was there last week, I believe. I did see a tweet that someone had said 405 miles, which it's not that big a difference. It's a small delta there.
Didn't it do 412 miles on the dual motor?
Was that the Plaid though, or just the dual motor? I think the dual motor is farther, but tri-motor is going to be a little bit. I think it's going to take a bit of a hit.
That's the 3 permanent magnet motors there. That's because you can't shut one off.
Right. Well, we'll see if maybe they've managed to get a little more range out of, I don't know, for their testing. But really, in the real world, 50 miles at that
Oh, it's more than enough.
1% or 0.5%. It's everyone's driving patterns are so different, and all the conditions that you drive under are so different that it's a negligible difference.
Oh, totally agree. I'm actually a fan of, you don't need that much range. That's my opinion. I drive that little smart car around, or the i3 around, and I do most of my driving with those cars, and they're totally fine. I do love taking my Model 3 on road trips, though. So getting close, getting excited. I joked and I said, there probably won't be anything, but there's stuff under covers. We saw them talking about coefficient of drag in a picture earlier. There's probably going to be a little something.
So they're saying this is more efficient than the Lucid Air and the Mercedes EQS, and it still looks much better, I think, if I may say so, than the EQS. And actually, in my opinion, the Lucid Air, it looks better than that, even though it's an older design. It's aged really well, and yeah, I prefer it.
Do you think we'll get a little clip of Spaceballs in there with John Candy sitting there and they've gone to Plaid? Let's hope they do something fun like that.
That'd be nice.
Or who's the other actor that was in with them?
I forget his name. I know I can picture him, but I forget his name. I just remember John Candy sitting there in the.
We're starting. We're starting.
Yeah. All right. Here we go, guys.
All right. See you guys.
Enjoy the presentation. Have a great night, and we'll see you in the morning, 9:30 a.m. Inside TV's podcast. Have a good evening. Enjoy.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Fremont, California. We're out here at the test track of our Fremont factory, just a few meters away from where we actually build all of our Tesla vehicles. We're super excited to have you all here. In fact, almost 9 years ago, on June 22nd, 2012, we had our first Model S delivery event right over there in the factory. So we've come a long way in a few years. We set out to design, engineer, and manufacture the best car in the planet. And we've been working tirelessly every day to try to make that happen. And tonight, we're going to show you the next best version of Model S. And I brought this along because we might be breaking a few records. But more about that later. So let's get Elon out here and have him show you how we made the best car in the world.
A car of any kind.
The Model S. This is an ambitious goal to create a whole new kind of car. A lot of Wall Street is betting Tesla can't get it done.
All right. Thanks for coming and thanks for tuning in. So, as Franz was saying, this is 9 years since we delivered the first Model S, the first car produced here in Fremont. So almost a decade, and I think we're really taken it to a whole new level with with Plaid. Some of you may know that. I mean, basically, our product plan is stolen from Spaceballs. So we've gone Plaid speed. What we really wanted to achieve here is like, well, why make this really fast car that's crazy fast and everything? And I think there is something that's quite important to the future of sustainable energy, which is that we got to show that an electric car is the best car, hands down. So it's got to be clear. It's like, man, this is sustainable energy cars. It can be the fastest cars, can be the safest cars, can be the most kick-ass cars in every way. And that's why we did the Plaid. It's just to show hands down, this is the way to go. So, yes. Pressing slide. There we go. All right. So we've made huge improvements from the original car. Well, actually, who here, has anyone here, probably some have, bought the early Model S? Like yeah. All right. Well, thank you for your support. You can see the huge improvements we've made. So, and it started off with good performance, but now with Plaid, we've managed to break the 2-second barrier, if you will. No production car has ever done 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds. And this is a 4-door car, seats 5 adults, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, this thing moving. I mean, this is like what I call like limit of physics engineering. It's not relative engineering. It's like, what does physics say we can do? Because physics is the law and everything else is a recommendation. So in addition to a crazy performance, it's also got a longer range. Even with the tri-motor high performance, it's got almost a 400-mile range. And in the dual motor configuration, it's got a 412-mile range. So 420, give or take. So that joke will never end. So and we've also improved the supercharging speed, so you can get 187 miles of range in 15 minutes. So. Yeah, so quickest production car, to be clear, of any kind ever made, like I said, first to ever break the 2-second barrier. Later tonight, you'll get a chance to drive around the track. And like this is really something you have to feel to believe, because it hits you right in the limbic system. It's like, damn, like, whoa, yeah. it is basically, what is the car that we can? How can we make a spaceship a car? You know. So, hello. Let's see. Yep. And then in terms of additional stats, it's also the fastest production car to complete a quarter mile, so 9.23 seconds. It's got a 200 mile an hour top speed, over 1,000 horsepower, almost 400 mile range. Like I said, charges so fast, you know, it'll be probably done by the time you have a coffee, basically. And talking about some of the sort of details behind it. So we have an all-new battery pack. And then something we're really proud of is the new carbon-sleeved rotors for the motor. So this is the first time that there's, to the best of our knowledge, there's been a production electric motor that has a carbon overwrap rotor. So this is a super hard thing to do because carbon and copper have, you know, at very different rates of thermal expansion. So in order to do a carbon overwrapped rotor, you've got to wind it at extremely high tension. It's a very hard thing to do. We actually had to design the machine that makes the rotor. So no such machine existed before. It also means we can have the electromagnetic field be super efficient and have a tight gap even at super high RPM. And it's single speed from 0 to 200 miles an hour. So it's just, the RPM is so crazy that just the centrifugal force wants to expand the rotor. So the carbon overwrap actually holds the rotor, basically holds the rotor together. It's like madness. So, yeah. So let's see. In fact, we're going to show you the motor. In fact, you might have had a chance to see the drive unit. And we can go closer. I mean, this is really an amazing work of engineering. Yeah, there's just never been an electric motor like this. I mean, you can pick this motor up with your hands, and it can accelerate a 2-ton car to 60 miles an hour in 2 seconds. I mean, that kind of power to weight is insane. Yeah. So it goes. It goes up to 20,000 RPM and maybe a little more. So. Yeah, I was just saying, close look at it. So, let's see. Okay, let's switch back to the slides, I think. So, in it, we also were able to achieve the lowest drag coefficient of any car ever made. So, yeah. So really, I think Tesla engineering has outdone itself here. This is a car that looks good, but also gets an incredible drag coefficient. And this is the true drag coefficient of the car, including with wheels in motion. Sometimes you'll hear drag coefficients quoted, but that'll be without the wheels moving. And the wheels cause sort of air churn and incremental drag. And this is the actual drag coefficient of the car. So it's to have a good-looking sports car, have that lower drag coefficient is really tough. So. We also have the latest and greatest in heat pump, which is basically the HVAC system for the car. It's 30% better cold weather range and requires 50% less energy for cabin heating in freezing conditions. Yeah, so you'll see very little degradation in cold weather. And the radiator is twice as big for heat rejection. So you'll be able to actually do back-to-back 0 to 60s, go on the track, just haul ass. And as you'll see tonight, this car is just going to be over and over again, and it doesn't get winded. I think we got to take this back to maybe the Nürburgring. See what happens. And then, of course, when we first delivered the Model S, there were no superchargers anywhere in the world. So back in 2012, no superchargers anywhere. Now there are 25,000 superchargers all around the world. So, we opened 30 just in the last week. And we're just going to keep going so that you can basically travel anywhere you want with peace of mind, super easy. Keep increasing the power of the superchargers. We're 250 kilowatts. So obviously, that we'll start going to 280, 300, 350. Yeah. So. And then it's also engineered for maximum safety as well. So. In fact, this is designed to be our aspiration for this car. It still has to be tested by the U.S. government, but we think we can get the lowest probability of injury of any car ever tested. So, in fact, these are the actual NHTSA probability of injuries numbers. All top 5 cars with the lowest probability of injuries ever tested, all 5 are Teslas. So with the Plaid Model S, what you have is a car that is faster quicker than any sports car, and like faster than any Porsche, safer than any Volvo in the same car. That's insane. It's like yeah. So. And then the design, we've obviously made a lot of refinements to the exterior, and then we've completely redone the interior. So I think once you drive the new Model S, it really feels like you're driving the future. And other cars are going to, especially like non-Tesla cars, are going to feel very last century. So all new interior. As you can see, we changed the orientation of the main screen, so it's easier to watch movies and that kind of thing in landscape. Yeah, exactly. I mean, in other notes, we have ventilated front seats. So, yeah. Anyway, I think it's really, you drive around and it really feels like, okay, we're in 2021. Great. We have this yoke steering wheel, which is a little different, but I think once you try it, you'll think it's great. The visibility of the main screen is super clear, especially for autopilot. So you can see the entire panoramic view you can basically see the mind's eye of the car, yeah, it's really cool. So. And then we've gotten rid of the stalks. So, I think generally all input is error. So we want, if you have to do something that the car could have done already, that should be taken care of. The software should just do it. So you can actually just literally walk up to the car. It senses that you're approaching, unlocks the car based on your phone. It just basically pairs with your phone, knows that you're coming to the car, opens the door, extends the handle, you sit down, and you just drive. You don't have to press the drive or anything like that. The car knows you want to drive. It figures like, yeah, good guess, So, and then it's using the autopilot system to know where the obstacles are. So obviously, if there's something in front of you, you want to go backwards, and if there's something in back of you, you want to go front. Most likely, and then it will adapt to your to your needs. So if it sees that you're always doing this, you're changing to reverse or forward in particular situations, it'll try to remember that and geocode it to that location. So then you won't have to do it in the future. It will just keep minimizing the amount of input that you need to do until the car just reads your mind. So it's gonna be great. Yeah. So we've redesigned the interior. We moved the interior so that the front IP is actually slimmer and thinner. So we were able to move the front seats forward, giving more room to the back seat, and we reclined the back seat more and reduced the interior trim. So basically, the current Model S, the back seat is not amazing, but the new one, it's actually a legit back seat. I'd say it's like it's good. So you can. I think it's quite a comfortable back seat, and you've got also a rear screen, and you can control everything from the back. Yeah. So it's got dual inductive chargers for your phones in the back and dual inductive in the front. And it's a 36-watt power supply, so you can actually charge like your laptop or anything. Basically, it's a 36-watt USB-C. Yeah. It can also pair with multiple Bluetooth devices simultaneously. So multiple people could be controlling music, or somebody could be playing a video game. So it's you can do multiple wireless things simultaneously. And then similar to the Model 3 and Y, we instead of having air vents, we use intersecting columns of air. So and we just vary the speed of the air. So you don't have to. There's no vents that you can see. And you can just touch the screen and move the screen around, and it'll just move the air wherever you want it. And the air is much more diffuse. It just feels like an invisible air conditioning system. It's great. So, and it's a tri-zone. So there's a zone for the rear, and a front and left front, right front zone. So. And then the 17-inch touchscreen it feels like a movie theater. The sound is incredible. Yeah, so you can really it's like a home theater experience. So if you're sitting somewhere waiting, or for whatever reason, or at a supercharger, you can just catch up on what are your favorite Netflix show or iTunes or whatever the case may be, YouTube, and of course you can also play video games. So and the same thing for the rear. So you can it basically the system feeds all three screens, and so you can do things the front, rear. It's great. We have an all-new sound system designed by Tesla Audio, and we have acoustic glass throughout the car, so the car is very quiet when going down the highway, even at very high speeds, like you're doing 100 miles an hour, still quiet. And this is a Tesla-designed codec, so it will keep uploading improved versions of the sound system. It's completely software-defined, so we'll keep tweaking it and dynamically adjusting to whether you're using streaming, or whether it's coming via Bluetooth from your phone, or different streaming services. It'll actually, and if the data rate changes, it'll adapt that. So basically, it always sounds good. And that's just going to get better. So, yeah. And then we've got an all-new UI. So, really want waypoints. Okay, does everybody here want waypoints? All right, fine, we'll do waypoints. God damn it. All right. 2 weeks. All right, we'll do waypoints, fine. But obviously, it also interfaces with your calendar. So if you just, basically, if you just get in the car, and you just sort of swipe down from Navigate. You don't have to enter anything, just swipe down. The car will automatically figure out if you want to go to home, work, or what's on your calendar. So it'll default to calendar priority. And obviously, if you're at home and kind of a weekday or whatever, it assumes you're going to go to work. So you just swipe down, automatically navigates to work, and checks traffic and gives you an optimal route. So it's just like a nice little easy thing. And you can actually set it to automatically generate the most probable route. So you just get in, and it's going to guess what route you want, and you don't have to press anything. Yeah. So anyway, the UI is like basically easy to move around, expand, contract, shift music to the left, to the right, and we're going to keep improving it. So it basically feels like a modern tablet or phone. So, and then it's not PS4, it's PS5. So I think there's never been a car that has state-of-the-art computing technology, state-of-the-art infotainment, where this is literally at the level of a PlayStation 5. So, yeah, I mean, if you think about the future where the car is often in autopilot or full self-driving mode, then entertainment is going to become increasingly important. So you're going to want to watch movies, play games, use the internet, just little things you want to do if you're not driving. And this is actual PlayStation 5 level performance. So we're going to try to do a gaming demo. Yes, it can play Cyberpunk. So this is somebody playing the car right now. This is so playing live. Yeah. So it's like pretty great, So have fun in the game. It's gonna be great. So, all right. So high frame rate will do 60 frames a second with state-of-the-art games. Yeah. All right, so we got incredible performance, interior of the future. I think engineering that's practically alien. So, like I said, simultaneously the safest car in the world and the fastest. This is insane. So, we also got look at some things like the power curve. So I think this really illustrates the difference. It maintains 1,000 horsepower all the way up to 200 miles an hour. This car crushes. All right. So, yes. All right, and deliveries begin now. So we're in production. We're going to deliver the first 25 cars now, and then basically should be at several hundred cars per week soon, and 1,000 cars a week probably next quarter. So please enjoy. We put a lot of work into this. I'd like to thank the incredible work of the Tesla engineering and production teams. So like my hat is off to Tesla engineering, production, design, the whole group. They put their heart and soul into this. So hope you enjoy it. So let's deliver some cars. All right.